From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Monday, October the 2nd, 2017's edition of For the People. Woke up this morning, just like most days, and I turn on the news, and another shooting. But this one different from many of the others because the carnage, unfortunately the death toll, if you will, is much bigger. It's 50 and 400 in the hospital. 50 dead, 400 in the hospital, and a shooter that we have no idea why he did what he did. It's just most of these are just senseless killings, and this one is a big one and a big deal. And the president just got done speaking, and I tell you, when I see posts when people say, what in the world? People ask me, and I see posts that people have. They're just talking to each other around the country, just kind of asking the question, what in the world is going on? It seems like this world is going to hell in a handbasket. I've heard that said before. There does seem to be, for whatever reason, an uptick with this violence. There seems to be people that just do the unthinkable, and the only thing that I can come up with, seriously, at least as a spiritual person, is that there's some kind of evil prevailing in somebody's heart. I mean, if you read back in the Bible, Cain killed Abel, and there was evil in his heart, entertaining that evil and then carrying it out. It's pure evil. I don't know how else to explain how somebody could be that angry, that upset, and just do something to another human being is just beyond me. I don't understand it. I really don't get it. And most people in their rational minds certainly don't get it there. And certainly, I'd have to say that I don't think this guy was dealing with, quote unquote, a rational mind for what he did. I mean, this was horrible, folks. And it was a country celebration where there was a bunch of big acts. Jason Aldean was the biggest act, and supposedly this was the final show last night there in Vegas. And people are just waking up in Vegas right now. About the time of this broadcast, about 8 o'clock local time there, people are waking up to the news because Vegas is so much more than just the Strip. For those that have been to Vegas before or understand how Vegas works, it's just bigger. There's, other life out there besides the casinos and the glitz and glamour, if you will. This is definitely a stain on Sin City. But there are people in Vegas, there's churches there, there's whole communities and schools, and apparently this guy, a 64-year-old, his name is Stephen Paddock, was staking out the place for some time. He was camped out there for several days. And so he must have known the schedule. He must have known what's on the roster. This guy was locked and loaded. It sounded like a machine gun. And there were three bursts of sound from those that were on the ground, for those that were there. And you can hear the gunfire. I'm going to play it in just a second. This is all over social media. It's very disturbing. There's video that's surfacing all over the place in case you haven't seen it. But this is a little sound, a little audio on what took place. They didn't know what it was, so they started playing again. There's the third round.
You can hear the gunfire, and that certainly, there's no doubt that is an automatic weapon and a high-powered automatic weapon.
Well, and at first, though, he like so many people.
Police know who this guy is. This guy is local. Police knew the suspect. That's what law enforcement is saying right now. Known to federal authorities, did not allegedly have any previous knowledge of him, according to NBC. In other words, they never suspected that this guy would be capable, nor his brother, who has been interviewed on television. It always seems to be the case with these cases where people come out, friends and family, they're just oblivious to it. They just, what? I'm shocked. What? He did it? He had what on him? According to gun experts and police, they're saying this guy, he didn't just snap. This guy was casing the place for days and days, checked in advance of this concert. And it's a beautiful casino. A lot of people have heard of the casino there in Las Vegas. Gorgeous Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino. And he was way up on the 32nd floor. So this guy had a bird's eye view of the concert. And you didn't even have to be a good shot. People were being shot in the head, shot in the back, shot in the abdomen, shot in the face, shot everywhere. Folks, 50 dead. It's going to be more than that, unfortunately. 400 hospitalized. And many people, they think the death toll is going to rise more, or that number hospitalized more, because many people drove themselves to the hospitals just to. One girl ran over 4 miles. That she was that scared. People were scared. They were breaking through barricades, injuring themselves just to get away from the gunfire. They were scared. They were scared. Country music. Just enjoying a little music there on the strip. And police, they came out and said not suspecting that this is linked to terrorism. In other words, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, any of those groups. They say no known connection to terrorism, but what they're going to do now, obviously, what they do in all these cases, is to see what's on his phone, see what's on his computer, see what his neighbors know. They're going to try to piece together his life to figure out why he did it, what their possible motive would be. And it's a sad day, folks, in America to see this happen. And again, that this is what has been told the deadliest shooting in modern U.S. history. At least 50 people killed, more than 400 wounded. When this gunman opened fired on an outdoor music festival on the Las Vegas Strip, the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history. If you're just joining us, authorities have identified the suspect, the gunman, in the Sunday night shooting. His name again, Stephen Paddock. I was listening earlier to Clark County Sheriff Joseph Lombardo. He said the officers confronted Paddock on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Hotel there in Casino. And when they were, I guess, busting down the door with explosives, he shot himself. He shot himself. The mayor of Orlando, just up the road from where we do the broadcast, is remembering the deadliest shooting before this. It was the attack on Orlando. It killed 49. Before that, the deadliest shooting in U.S. was the 2007 attack at Virginia Tech. That was 32 people before killing himself. It does seem like there's an uptick in what authorities are really fearful of this hour is the copycats. Those that are looking for a way to be able to, the most carnage, and trust me, they will look at this. Hotels, you can get in. There's no metal detectors. This guy, you can come in with bags any size. You go up to the elevator, take your own bags. You don't have to have anybody card it up, you can. They're not going to ask. Before the shoe bomber, Richard Reed, you didn't have to take off your shoes, but thanks to him, we do now. So there's going to be some investigation. They're going to have to figure out some security protocols, and after the smoke clears, so to speak, after the investigation, more or less, they have their conclusions and all that, they're going to have to review all of this for their hotels and probably around the entire country. I mean, 9/11 changed everything. You got the shoe bomber, Richard Reed. Now we got to take our shoes off. It's going to get stricter and stricter. But to me, I just don't, I don't get offended anymore going through the TSA checkpoints. I mean, you can get expedited if you want, but to me, the plane's safe or safer, safe as can be, because it's just the times that we live. Now, without a doubt what's going to happen here. The left haven't spoken yet, but any moment the left's going to be out. They're going to be talking about stricter gun control because it happened after Orlando, after every shooting that we've had. Columbine, Chattanooga, Boston Marathon. I mean, all of the stuff, that was a bomb there, the Boston Marathon, but gun control, stricter gun control. Now, the semi-automatics, it sounded like a machine gun. Exactly what exact kind of gun it is, I'm not an expert on these things, but it was definitely an automatic gun. And it was firing off a lot of rounds. I mean, if you got 400 people, think about this, 400, all right, that's in the hospital right now with injuries, and then 50 people dead, that's a lot of spraying of bullets. And like I said earlier, you don't have to be a good shot. God be with the families right now that are going through such anguish, trying to find out if their loved ones are even alive. Young, old alike have lost their lives. A list of names hasn't fully come out yet, but it's been described all ages, people from Florida, people from all over the country. That they go to, it's an international city. People come from all over the place, and they have this annual country fest, if you will. But people come in every year. There was a lot of big names that came in, but the biggest headliner was at the end of the show there, Jason Alderan, and he was playing there, and they just didn't know what was happening. They kind of slowed down, like, what's that noise? And they thought maybe a fireworks somewhere, something happening at one of the attractions there in Vegas. They started playing again a couple times, and then finally they asked him to get off the stage. They realized what was happening. A lot of heroics, folks, that took place from people just being selfless, helping one another, banding together. As the Orlando mayor said, we're Vegas strong here in Orlando. We're America strong here at For the People. We unite. We do what's right. We band together. This evil will not destroy us, but I think it's a reminder of the world that we live in, and it certainly is got an evil tendency, if you will. And just when you think that something's not going to happen, and that something, unfortunately, these days does happen, the unthinkable, and you don't know. It's very hard, I tell you. And I just lost my mother-in-law. But I tell you, she was sick. We love her. We miss her. She passed Friday, by the way, at the hospital, Tampa General here. She had heart failure, renal failure, heart failure,